Hi friends, this is Krish the Urban Naxal. Friends, I want to clear up one confusion that is there in the minds of a few people about whether tokens are refundable, yes or no, and whether all tokens are refundable, yes or no. The answer is, it depends. It depends who is taking the token, what are the circumstances of giving the token, and that will determine what are the laws governing the token. Now you guys must have heard me say again and again and again that when a builder takes a token from you, it is generally refundable. Even if he says it is not refundable, even if he writes it in his application form it is not refundable, even then he has to refund it. That is what the law says. And you have heard me say this again and again, and I have cited RERA orders and I have cited other reasons also, Contract Act and so on. However, there is another type of token and another situation. Suppose I set out to put my house on sale. So this house that you are seeing me sitting in, suppose I say I am going to sell this house and I accept a token from a guy who wants to buy my house and he gives me 5 lakh rupees as a token. And then he changes his mind. He comes back to me a few days later and says, Krish, I don't want to buy your house. Give me back my token. Should I necessarily give him back his token? Am I obliged to give it back to him? And the answer is no. What is the difference? What is the difference between that situation and this situation? Let me explain. First of all, when you are going to the resale market, your dealing is directly with the owner of the house, the home owner. You have to be very careful. You do not make a deal with the owner's son or the owner's father or the owner's brother or the owner's wife. You have to be careful that you are going to make that deal with the owner only. The person whose name is there in the agreement, in the title, the agreement which he has made, which confers the ownership title of that house on him. You should speak to the guy whose name is there in that agreement. And if you are speaking to someone else, if you are speaking to a broker, if you are speaking to anyone else other than the people whose name is there in that agreement, then that token will probably have to be refunded. But if the owner himself takes a token, he doesn't have to refund it. Why? Now let me explain this. What is the meaning of token? A token is something of a handshake. It is a handshake that binds both parties. It is an informal contract. It is informal, but it is a contract. Now you're going to ask me why the same thing doesn't apply to the builders, okay? And I'm going to answer your question. But first let's understand this part. Suppose a guy called Arvind Pradhan comes and meets me. I'm Krishnaraj Rao and I am the owner of this house. And Arvind Pradhan comes and meets me and he says, Krish, I want to buy your house. Well, we discuss the price. I may say 3 crore, I may say 4 crore. He comes down, he agrees with, say, let us say 3.5 crore or some such figure. And then I agree to sell the house to him for 3 crore and 53 lakhs. And he agrees to buy it at 3 crore and 53 lakhs exactly. We shake hands. He writes a check, a bankable check of 5 lakh rupees, and I take it and I will bank it. So I have accepted his token. It's not just a check lying in my drawer. I have taken that token and I have banked it. So this is important. It is not just a check lying in my drawer. I bank that token, which means I accept that money into my bank account. Now what happens? Now what happens is, after 1 week, he comes to me and says, Krish, I'm sorry I cannot go through with the deal or whatever. He says, my wife doesn't like your flat or anything. And then he says, Krish, please return my token. I can say, no, I will not return it. Or I can say, okay, I'm going to return 4 lakhs out of your 5 lakhs. I can say any of those things. Why? Because I have accepted his token. But what is the problem? What is the problem? Same thing. Builders are taking your token and putting it in their bank. Why are we saying that that is refundable and this is not refundable? I'll explain. In this case, I am a flat owner, and when I accept your token, I am giving you a certain right. So your token is in exchange for a certain right. And that right is that I am not going to sell it to anyone else. I will not accept a token from someone else, and I will not make a deal with anyone else. Even if that guy gives me 10 crores, 20 crores, 30 crores more, 10 lakhs, 30 lakhs more. So we made a deal for 3 crore and 53 lakhs exactly. This is an example. I'm giving you a figure. 3 crore and 53 lakhs was our deal. Now suppose tomorrow morning someone else comes and says, Krish, don't give it to this Arvind Pradhan here. I'm going to give you 4 crore rupees. Very tempting. Very tempting. But now I am tied by the token which I have accepted into my bank account. And you will be right to come to me and say, Krish, you have accepted 353. You made a deal. Honor the deal. And I will have to honor the deal. Of course, there are people who won't honor the deal. What will you do? Go to court. That's a different story. But generally speaking, a token binds the seller. In the case of the builder, however, the token is not binding the seller at all. Let me give you an example. Suppose you go to Godrej Horizon and suppose you strike a deal and your deal is, let us say, 2.6 lakhs. 2 crore and 60 lakhs and you for a certain flat. You strike that deal, you give them that token or whatever they want to call it, they are calling it expression of interest. They even write down the name of the flat, the number of the flat, the exact name of the building, everything. Even then, your token is refundable. Why? Why is it that Godrej should refund your token even if they have taken your signature on it? And the answer is, you're dealing, okay, so there are many reasons, okay, I'm going to give you multiple reasons why they should refund your token and why it is not the same thing as dealing with Krish. Why it is not the same thing as dealing with an individual owner of the flat. In the case of, as we said, discussion between Arvind Pradhan and Krishnaraj Rao. Krishnaraj Rao and Arvind Pradhan are both tied into that contract. It is an informal contract. They can formalize it by writing an MOU, by sending each other emails and things like that. Things that they can prove, they can use as proof in a court of law. It is important actually to formalize it, write it down, write down the exact figure, write down whether it includes parking or not, what else does it include, because sometimes this thing can cause disputes. But the big picture is that it is a handshake between Krishnaraj Rao and Arvind Pradhan. Now, coming to Godrej Horizon, and if you book a flat in Godrej Horizon, and then you say, no, I don't want it, but you have given advance of, let us say, 5 lakhs. They called it expression of interest. Now, why is it that you should not be tied and you are not tied by law? The answer is, you have not shaken hands with Godrej. Who is the owner? The owner of the property is Godrej Properties Limited, or whatever the name of that company is. So Godrej is the owner. Did they sign a deal with you? Now you may say yes. Where is that deal? You may say the application form is the deal. Where is the signature of Godrej? You will show me the sales representative's, salesman's signature, or the sales head's signature, or the channel partner's signature. Are they authorized representatives of Godrej? No, they are not. That is reason number 1. Reason number 1 is that you have not shaken hands with the owner. You have shaken hands with a guy who is not the owner, who is the employee of the owner. So it is like entering, suppose to make a clarity on the deal, you didn't meet Krishnaraj Rao for buying his house, you met Krishnaraj Rao's driver or Krishnaraj Rao's CA, an outside party or somebody, a broker, and you signed a deal with the broker. But the broker was not duly authorized with the power of attorney by Krishnaraj Rao to sign on his behalf. You understand? You did not meet Krishnaraj. Then in that case, you should get back your token. But if you met me, if you shook hands with me, if you tied me into a contract, then I am going to hold on to your money. Is that clear? In the case of Godrej, in the case of builders, you are not signing a contract, you are not shaking hands with the company. You are shaking hands with someone who is an employee and not an authorized representative. So that is your reason number 1. There is a second reason. The second reason is, if you read the application form itself, or they call it booking form or expression of interest form or application form, whatever they call it. If you read the form, if you read the terms and conditions on the form, the terms and conditions will say, we are free to sell this house. We are not constrained in any way. We have not entered into any kind of contractual obligation with you. There is no contractual obligation between Godrej and you, the flat buyer. You are applying for the house. You are making a request for me to give you booking, but I have not given you booking. I will give you booking if and when there is an allotment letter. So in this way, what happens is, Godrej is not entering into a deal with you. Therefore, there is no handshake. Therefore, that token does not have the binding effect on the side of Godrej. It is supposed to only bind you, not bind Godrej, not bind the builder. Therefore, that kind of a contract, a one-sided contract, is null and void, and that is the reason the token has to be refunded to you. That is reason number 2. So, to specify, reason number 2 is, it is a null and void contract right in the beginning. It is a non-contract. They are not entering into a contract with you. Not only is it not signed by them, they are saying in that application, we are not entering into any contract. You have no rights over this flat. Even if it is written down in your booking form and you have paid a token towards it, you have no rights whatsoever, no claim whatsoever in the flat. That is not the same thing as when you meet me and you pay me 5 lakh rupees and then I go and sell that house. If I go and sell the house, you paid me 5 lakh and then I went and sold the house to someone else, you can sue me in court. You can go to court and say, I gave him 5 lakh rupees, he accepted the 5 lakh rupees and our emails show that we struck a deal at 3 crore 53 lakhs. Now he has to give me that house at 3 crore 53 lakhs. He is bound by a contract. So in our case, it creates a claim in your favor, in the favor of this imaginary buyer called Arvind Pradhan. Whereas if Arvind Pradhan goes to Horizon, to Godrej Horizon, and buys a flat, it does not create a claim in his favor. It does not create any rights or entitlements in his favor. So that is the second reason. Let me give you reason number 3. Reason number 3 is, if you come to Krishnaraj Rao and say, Krish, I want to buy your flat. This thing you are seeing behind me, I'm sitting inside it. It is an actual thing. It exists. It is completely in existence. It is not imaginary. It is not a plan. It is not something I will be constructing sometime in the future. On the other hand, what Godrej Horizon or any other builder is offering you is usually a promise. He promises it is going to be a house that is like this. It is going to be a real house. When? Sometime in the future, in 2017 or in 2025 or 27 or 28 or some such figure, some such date. Sometime in the future. So, it is not a specific promise. And again, there is more to it. It is not, the elements of the contract are not very clearly defined. In our case, your case and mine, suppose again Arvind Pradhan and Krishnaraj Rao, we shake hands on a price. We also of course talk about when I am going to give him possession, by when he is going to give me all the money. It will be very, synchronized. He will give me money and then I will give him possession within a few days, maybe a week, maybe a month. But I will give him possession, vacant and peaceful possession, maybe even same day. So it is a synchronized thing. Whereas in the case of the builder, you are taking the money and then taking some more money and then taking money according to a schedule. You are not giving him possession until a day far away in the future. Now even that should not matter. You will say, well, how does that matter? Whether it's 1 month in the future or whether it is 4 years in the future, how does it matter? Correct. Good argument. It does not matter. But there is another thing. In yours and my case, if you are dealing with this property, the property is all there. There are no excessive numbers of terms and conditions. There are not too many ifs and buts. You have to take my flat. I have to take your money. It's not a maze of terms and conditions. It's pretty straightforward, plain and simple. In the case of the builder, the real heart of the whole thing is the registered agreement, which contains a whole bunch of conditions. Now again, here I am talking specifically in terms of under construction. Very specifically. Okay. In the case of under construction, what the builder has to offer you is just a bunch of terms and conditions. Lots and lots of terms and conditions. 150 pages of just terms and conditions and plans and this and that, and it's going to be inside a township and you're going to pay this, you're going to pay maintenance and you're going to pay club charges and you're going to pay infrastructure charges and when it is demanded and interest rates and penalties and you get the picture. It's very complicated. So what is your transaction? Your transaction is contained in that agreement, in that registered agreement. Is it contained in just a conversation with the builder? Is it contained in your sales office conversation? No, it is not. It is not. Can you go through 150 pages of a contract, or are you ever going to go and sit in a sales office and read 150 pages of the agreement? No, you are not. So what happens is the contract has not been given your consent, your knowing and willing consent. Whereas in our case, in the case of the example of resale, if I am reselling my property to you, I will say, boss, come here, take a look at my house, check it all out, you will know the condition it is in, thok baja ke dekh lo, check the water, check the flushes, check the electricals, check the ambience, check whatever you like. It's all here. Walk down to the clubhouse, go take a look at it. It's all here. Whatever is there, whatever you see, you're getting. Nothing more, no surprises. We are shaking hands on that. And I am saying, here's my copy of agreement. Take a look at the copy of the agreement that I have signed. You will be inheriting all my rights. And you can actually argue with and get even more rights. I leave that to you. So, it is not a vague transaction. It is a specific transaction, and that is again the reason why in a resale property, the token need not be refunded. That is what the market understands. That is what you also understand. But in the case of the builder who is selling you an under construction property and is not even selling you an actual under construction property, is selling you a dream and a bunch of promises which are contained in this registered agreement pro forma. That is your contract. That is your point of transaction actually happening. Anything before that, there was no transaction. Allotment letter, no transaction. Application form, no transaction. Therefore, your token is not part of a transaction. Therefore, that has to be refunded to you religiously. That is the reason. I hope I made things clear. I am Krish, the Urban Naxal, your friend. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan.